Hi, welcome YouTube. So, I am on to my May astrological transits. There's a lot going on in May. So, we're going to kind of take it step by step. On very first thing on the 7th is the full moon in Scorpio. Now, full moons are kind of like they're often considered to be like a sign of death, rebirth, and completion of a cycle. So basically, it's like the culmination of everything that's happened in the prior, since the new moon. That was, I believe, the 19th of April. And the moon often illuminates, because it's in Scorpio, the deepest desires, all or nothing attitudes. So, what you're going to find on this full moon is that people's desires, like their true deep desires, are going to start coming to the forefront. Also, this all or nothing attitude you're going to see present in a lot more people. People aren't going to be as compromising. With that being said, on the 11th, you have Mercury entering Gemini. Now, listen, Mercury is a planet that rules Gemini. And it's a planet of day-to-day communication, expressions. And Gemini is a sign that rules communication. And so this planet naturally sits well in this position. Communication will be easy. Traveling short distance will be really nice and easy. Although we are in stay at home right now, I short distances like to the store, that kind of stuff, you're really not going to run into like all the red lights and construction and accidents. It's going to be pretty easy. It's going to be a very comfortable position. I actually am a Gemini, and my Mercury is in Gemini. So for me, this position is always a great position for me. With that being said, then on the 13th, Venus is going to retrograde in Gemini. And here's the problem. Venus rules relationships. And Gemini, as far as relationships are concerned, can be fickle. And so usually when Venus is in Gemini, it kind of like balances out that fickleness. But because it's going retrograde, you're going to find that people are going to start becoming a little lackadaisical in relationships. You need, as your own person, you need to be very aware that this is a time when affairs and cheating can happen. And as long as you're aware that there's a propensity and the energy for this to happen, it will be much easier to keep yourself on track and not fall into that trap, because it's going to be a little easier when Venus retrogrades. On the 14th, Jupiter's going to retrograde, and it's going to retrograde in Capricorn. As a result, people are going to be overconfident. If you are overconfident in this time period, it will be a big mistake for you. It will be a downfall. What you need to do during this time, starting on the 14th, is you need to start analyzing your professional life. You need to start looking at what are some of the strengths of it and what are some of the weaknesses, and kind of trying to balance those out a little better. On the 20th, we have the sun entering Gemini. And here, listen, the sun likes happiness and socializing. Gemini is a very social sign. They seem very aloof, but Geminis tend to be described as the life of the party with no depth. I disagree with that. I'm a Gemini. I understand that my depth runs so deep, but I do know that I do come across as very flippant or nonchalant or lackadaisical. Like, I know I do come across that way, but in reality, it's an air sign. It's a thinking sign. So deep thinking happens, especially when the sun goes into Gemini. But here's the better thing about it. Everybody's going to become more social, much more curious, much more frivolous. People are going to want to explore more. Hopefully, the stay-at-home orders are lifted by then. And I'll tell you why. Because we're going to be at the tail end of it. We're going to be 2 months into it. And people, I feel, already right now are getting really, really antsy. And I can only imagine what would happen if we're still on stay-at-home orders on the 20th of May. Because when it starts going into Gemini, it's already hard enough on a day-to-day basis when everything's running smoothly. You're going to your job, you're doing your normal day-to-days prior to COVID-19. If we hit this, it's already hard. If you're doing your normal day-to-day, you're already feeling that itch to really like get together with people and be out exploring and having fun and, you know, acting a little immaturely, you know, just really laid back. If it hits while we still have stay-at-home orders, it's going to be so hard to get through that. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I'm already feeling like the urge to like get together for a bonfire with a group of friends. Like, I'm already feeling the itch to see people in a bigger setting other than, you know, just my family. And I love my family, but you need to have, that's not a balanced life to only be focused on one or two people. On the 22nd, the new moon is in Gemini. It is a great time. The new moon is when you start things to come to culmination at the full moon. So the new moon's a perfect time to start a new book or start something new and different. Gemini does like frivolity. They do like experiencing new things. And so a new moon in Gemini is a really good placement as far as like initiating new and fun, exciting ideas. Because it will really take off. And it's a perfect time to start that. And in Gemini's, well, at least I am. And I have a stellium in Gemini. So I'm not just Gemini, I'm like Gemini. I've got my sun rising, Mercury, Venus, all in, all in Gemini. The only thing that's not there is my moon, and my moon's in Aquarius. So that being said, new moon in Gemini is like anybody who's Gemini or anybody who likes experiencing new things is really going to love this new moon. It's a really great placement. On the 28th, you're going to have Mercury entering Cancer. And Mercury, as we know, is the day-to-day communication, expression. You know, Cancer is an emotional sign. It also is a sign that rules over like decision making. And so what you'll find is that emotions are going to start dictating what decisions you're making. Your emotions are going to kind of rule that. Also, a lot of communication and conversation will be running around home, family, comfort, those kind of things. Your memory will be better. Mercury entering Cancer is not the most comfortable position because Mercury is a planet that rules an air sign, so signs that are thought-based, and it's entering a sign that's emotion-based. So a lot of the thoughts are going to be emotionally affected. With that being said, that's all the transits for May. May's going to be somewhat of a tough month. You've got a lot of retrogrades, but here's the beautiful thing. If you are an air sign or you are you have signs in Mercury that are compatible with air signs. This is going to be a really great month for you until the very end, until about the 28th. That's when it starts to get a little uncomfortable because you have emotions coming into play. But with that being said, love and light, you guys take care. You have a wonderful May, and we'll be back with your transits for June. Love and light.